निर्व्यूह्यमाना निहयिष्यसे चमूः. Your lordship, asya of this world, lokasya, especially of this Martya Loka, the planet Earth, Vibho, O Supreme, Rirakshishuhu, desiring protection from the disturbance of the Asuras, Grihe, in this house, Avatirnaha, Asi, have now appeared, Mama, my, Akila Ishvara, although you are the proprietor of the entire creation, Rajanya, Samgya Asura Koti Yutapaihi, with millions of demons and their followers in the roles of politicians and kings, Nirbhyuhyamanaha, which are moving here and there all over the world. Niha Nishyase will kill Chamuhu, the armies, paraphernalia, soldiers and retinues. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Srila Bhai Charana Arvinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation. O my Lord, proprietor of all creation, you have now appeared in my house, desiring to protect this world. I am sure that you will kill all the enemy armies that are moving all over the world under the leadership of politicians who are dressed as Kshatriya rulers, but who are factually demons. They must be killed by you for the protection of the innocent public. Please read the translation. O my Lord, proprietor of all creation, you have now appeared in my house, desiring to protect this world. I am sure that you will kill all the armies that are moving all over the world under the leadership of politicians who are dressed as Kshatriya rulers, but who are factually demons. They must be killed by you for the protection of the innocent public. Purport. Krishna appears in this world for two purposes. Paritranaya sadhuna vinashaya cha dushkritam, to protect the innocent religious devotees of the Lord and to annihilate all the uneducated, uncultured asuras who unnecessarily bark like dogs and fight among themselves for political power. It is said, Kalikale Namarupe Krishna Avatara. The Hare Krishna movement is also an incarnation of Krishna in the form of the holy name, Nama Rupe. Every one of us who is actually afraid of the Asuric rulers and politicians must welcome this incarnation of Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Then we will surely be protected from the harassment of Asuric rulers. At the present moment, these rulers are so powerful that by hook or by crook, they capture the highest posts in government and harass countless number of people on the plea of national security or some emergency. Then again, one asura defeats another asura, but the public continues to suffer. Therefore, the entire world is in a precarious condition, and the only hope is this Hare Krishna movement. Lord Nrsimhadeva appeared when Prahlad was excessively harassed by his Asuric father. Because of such Asuric fathers, that is, the ruling politicians, it is very difficult to press forward the Hare Krishna movement. But because Krishna has now appeared in his holy name through this movement, we can hope that these Asuric fathers will be annihilated and the kingdom of God established all over the world. The entire world is now full of many asuras in the guise of politicians, gurus, sadhus, yogis, and incarnations. And they are misleading the general public away from Krishna consciousness, which can offer true benefit to human society. Thus ends the Bhaktivinoda purport and translation to Canto 10, Chapter 3, Text 21 of Srimad Bhagavatam. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणि प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. Continuing Vasudeva's prayers to Lord Krishna, who just appeared, of Mother Devaki. So Vasudeva is offering a very nice prayer, indicating his complete knowledge of the Supreme Lord. So he is saying, O my Lord, proprietor of all creation. So the Supreme Lord Krishna is the owner of all the creations. You have now appeared in my house. You are the proprietor of all the worlds, but you appear in my tiny house. It's a kind of, it's ironical. Hmm? Desiring to protect this world, but there is a purpose why the Lord appeared in Vasudeva's house. It is to protect the world from the Asuras, Asuric rulers, and Asuric people, hmm, and give innocent people a chance to live in this world and achieve spiritual perfection. I am sure that you will kill all the armies that are moving all over the world under the leadership of politicians who are dressed as Kshatriya rulers but are factually demons. So Vasudeva is expecting from the Lord that the Lord kill all these Kshatriya rulers who are actually demons and not Kshatriyas. So they must be killed, my Lord, for the protection of the innocent public. So Prabhupada explains in the purport that Krishna appears in this world for two main purposes. One is to protect the devotees, hmm, and the other, in order to achieve the protection of devotees, Krishna has to do another task of annihilation of the demoniac persons. Peace cannot be restored if demonic persons are dominating this world. Both can't go side by side. It cannot be peaceful, people can live, and those who are atrocious, those who are asuric also can coexist. Not possible. There'll always be harassment from the exploitative section to the innocent public or devotees. Therefore, they must be weeded out. Just like in an agricultural field, this is explained in the first chapter of Bhagavad Gita. In an agricultural field, when you sow seeds for some flowers or fruits to grow, weeds also will grow. So you have to root out the weeds. And if you don't pluck out the weeds, the main plant or tree will become stunted in its growth. So they have to be removed without consideration after ascertaining that they are weeds. Otherwise, you cannot expect your flower and fruit to flourish along with the weeds. Hmm? So that is explained in the first chapter. See? The Prabhupada says in the purport, as in a paddy field, the unnecessary plants are taken out. So it is expected from the very beginning of these topics that in the religious field of Kurukshetra, where the father of religion, Sri Krishna, was present, the unwanted plants like Dhritarashtra's son, Duryodhana and others would be wiped out, and the thoroughly religious persons headed by Yudhishthira would be established by the Lord. So when it comes to taking action towards the non-doers, there cannot be any mercy. One should know where to apply mercy. Sometimes mercy is a misapplied principle. In the Bhagavad Gita, 18th chapter, if you see, Krishna describes the qualities of a Kshatriya. About 7 qualities Krishna describes. This is in the 18th chapter, text 43. Shauryam tejo dhriti dakshyam yuddhe chapi apalayanam dhanam ishwar bhavascha kshatra karma swabhavajam. This is the 7 qualities of a Kshatriya. This is the section where Krishna is describing about the qualities of the Varna. Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. What are their qualities? What are their symptoms? How do you identify them? It is not by birth. Because in the 4th chapter, Krishna already said that these Varnas and Ashtama are to be recognized by qualities of work. So what are those qualities Krishna is describing here? So one of the qualities of Kshatriya is Shauryam. Shaurya means heroism. Tejaha means power. Dhritihi means firm determination. Dakshyam means being very resourceful. Dakshyam. Then Yuddhe Chapi Apalayanam, should never return back from the battlefield like a coward without fighting and facing the opponent. Never show his back. So not fleeing from battle. Dhanam, he must give charity. Ishvara Bhava, he should have leadership quality. Kshatram Karma Swabhavajam. So these are the ways you recognize a Kshatriya. These are the duties of a Kshatriya, the qualities of work for a Kshatriya. If you don't find them, he is not a leader. He is not a Kshatriya. He cannot be a ruler. So heroism. He must be heroic. Not timid. must be proactive, not even active, must be proactive. Should be able to lead, be very bold, and take bold actions and bold steps, not be very afraid, very hesitant. For that, he has to ascertain what is right and what is wrong. For that, he has to know what is right and what is wrong. That is why, if you see, we have Chanakya Niti, we have Vidura Niti, codes for rulers, directions for rulers, guidance for rulers, how to take action, how to identify a, wrongdoer from the right person, how to identify the innocent from the uh, guilty. So the king has to be very sharp in detecting all these things. Otherwise, there'll be misjudgment. He should not allow any wrongdoer to thrive. So heroism, then power. So he should exercise power. He may have, but if you don't exercise power, just like there can be a prime minister. Actually, the position of prime minister or president of the country is very powerful. He can change the rules of the country itself. But if he doesn't use his power for good, there's no point in sitting on the seat. You can make drastic changes and drastic decisions, but he must be guided by the council of ministers who are highly renounced and educated and wise. Then the combination is perfect. Kshatriya is always guided by a minister. huh? In the Vedic system, all those ministers had been Brahmanas, who are well trained, highly educated, renounced, wise, not greedy for the king's position, nor for any material opulences, who are always thinking of the praja, to always advise the prime minister or the kshatriya from standard texts of Vedic knowledge concerning politics and administration. There are texts how to run this world, run this universe, run the state, run the country. There are specific directions for kshatriyas. So they will give direction from those specific texts, not concocted or from their imagination or speculation. By speculation, you can never direct anyone. If you direct through speculation, then there will be disaster. So today, that is how things are going on. Everything is by imagination, trial and error, speculation, and no standard texts are referred. It is just like a doctor doing operation out of his whims and fancies, not from the standard texts how to do this operation. What will happen to the patient? He doesn't refer any text, standard text of how to diagnose, how to recognize the symptoms, and after recognizing, you have to identify what is the disease and then the line of treatment for the particular disease. Full procedure is that Ayurveda follows in this way. Allopathy also follows, but point is the doctor must be educated. Others may not be educated, may not be educated, but the doctor must be educated. Similarly, the Brahmanas must be highly educated, learned, and detached. Then they can give proper direction. Brahmanas should not have any interest in government. As a third party, they give direction. That's why they're taken into the court. Just like today also, you see any conflict, if you have to resolve between two major companies or major conflicts, they'll call for a third party mediation. Why? Because both parties have interest in a particular conflict. Therefore, their minds will not be broad enough to think of the solutions. They will always be prejudiced in their arguments. That is the idea. Therefore, there is a third party mediator because he has no interest in either parties. He will look neutrally from what is right, what is wrong, what is the law. So that is why Brahmanas are always neutral. They're not for any party. Vidya Vinay Sampanne Brahmane Gabihastini. See, this principle, spiritual principle, is applied even in politics here. See the application of Bhagavad Gita. Brahmana is equal to all living entities. He treats everyone equally. Whether a Brahmana or an elephant or a cow or a meat eater or an animal, he treats all of them equally because he sees the spirit soul and the welfare of the spirit soul. So he doesn't take sides. He is not prejudiced in his view. That such persons only can become Brahmanas or one who can give directions or advice. See, many times we seek advice, it will be mostly prejudiced, favoring one party. That's why it has to be a Brahmana. And then he directs the Kshatriya for Loka Kalyana, welfare of everyone. And then the Kshatriya can do proper justice. So he needs power to execute. If there's no power, even if I have great plans to protect the country, I cannot do much. It's like sometimes they say, God may be very merciful, but he's not all powerful. What to do? That is why so many things are going out of control. Wars are happening. Small innocent children are dying. Innocent is being punished in the court of law. I didn't do any wrong, but so much trouble for me. Lot of difficulties. Although I'm following my religious practices, my religious faiths, I'm very convinced God is very merciful. But what to do? He is not all powerful. It's a misconception. Misconception. Kshatriya has to have power. Obviously, Lord also has to have power to administer the world. So power must be yielded rightly. That's why if you see it is described in the early part of the Bhagavad Gita how Lord Ramachandra, although he was very upright, religious, but he is not a coward. He was very, very kind, but he is not a coward. See in the first chapter again, in text 36, it is explained. Arjuna, this is the context where Arjuna is giving reasons of the disaster which is awaiting if this war of Kurukshetra takes place. So Arjuna's idea is better we avoid the war. After all, they want kingdom. Let's give the kingdom, give away the kingdom. Then I'll go to Himalayas and become sannyasi. So what? After all, kingdoms come and go. Opulence comes and goes. Power comes and goes. But why risk sinful reactions? And why come under the influence of greed? There are many reasons Arjuna gives. These are some of the reasons. Why risk sinning? And why come under the influence of greed for land and property? Let's part away Krishna. He's presenting his argument. Krishna will advise him later. That's in the second chapter. So in that context, this is one of the arguments Arjuna makes. Papam eva ashtayet asma. Sin will overcome us. Papa ashtaya. Sin will overcome us if we slay such aggressors. See the contradiction here? Arjuna not able to understand. Jai Krishna Balaram Gurudev Prabhupada ki jai. Arjuna himself is saying aggressor. And Arjuna only is saying, but sin will come if we kill the aggressor. Killing an aggressor, how will it lead to sin? Killing an innocent person leads to sin. Not killing an aggressor. See, that is why this is fineness in dharma. Not easy. You require an advisor. By itself, killing is right or wrong. It depends. So, killing an aggressor is not sinful as per the Vedic uh, analysis. But Arjuna is thinking sin will overcome us if we kill such aggressors. It is not proper for us to kill the sons of Dhritarashtra and our friends. Tasman na arha vayam hantum Dhartarashtran sa bahandavan na arha vayam hantum. So what are we to gain by killing our own relatives and my own cousins, my friends? What are we to gain? Hantum, by killing na arha vayam, my own relatives, killing them. What am I supposed to gain here? Swajanam hi katam mahatva sukinas yama madhava. And oh Krishna, you are Madhava, supposed to bring fortune. Looks like you'll bring disaster to me and misfortune to me by advising me to kill all my relatives and friends. Then whom will I live with? You're telling kill off all my relatives and friends. Whom am I supposed to enjoy with? Live happily with? Killing my own dear ones. How could we be happy by killing our own kinsmen? So here Prabhupada says there are 6 kinds of aggressors or mischievous people. Seriously mischievous people. Who are they? Number 1, poison giver. It's an aggressor. Number 2, one who sets fire to the house. Here, sets fire also means he comes and destroys your house. It can also mean setting the fire, destroy your house also. Sometimes you see wrongly, we get a notice, your house will be seized because of manipulation by some other person to acquire your property. They may do it legally also to acquire your property, change the ownership, all kinds of things will happen. So one who sets fire to the house, one who attacks with deadly weapons. Number 3. Then number 4, one who plunders riches. Number 5, one who occupies another's land unrightfully. Then number 6, one who kidnaps a wife. Here talking about heroism, I was talking about, you see what Prabhupada explains further here. Such aggressors are at once to be killed, and no sin is incurred by killing such aggressors. This is the Vedic standard. You can straight away kill such persons, and there is no sin. Now, Arjuna is thinking, yes, I knew this, but that is for an ordinary person. Arjuna is thinking, those who are saintly are always told to forgive. Therefore, he wanted to deal with the aggressors, his own cousins, Kauravas, in saintliness. Now is the point. Prabhupada says, this kind of sentiment, however, is not for a Kshatriya. A very important point. See, these are all very fine points of administration and politics. Yes, you have to be saintly. But if you're taking up the role of a ruler, administrator, you should know exactly where to apply saintliness, not in such situations. Although a responsible man in the administration of a state is required to be saintly, he should not be cowardly. See, in the name of saintliness, you may be applying the principle of being a coward. You may be acting cowardly, actually. For example, how do we understand this principle? For example, Lord Rama was so saintly that people were anxious to live in his kingdom. Even today we talk about Rama Rajya. But Lord Rama never showed any cowardice. Ravana was an aggressor. Which kind of aggressor? The 6th one who kidnaps a wife. So Rama's wife was kidnapped by Ravana. So he was an aggressor. Hmm. So because he kidnapped Rama's wife Sita, Lord Rama gave him sufficient lessons unparalleled in the history of the world. He didn't kill only him, his entire race he finished off. This is the suitable punishment for a person who kidnaps one's wife. His entire family will be finished off, should be wiped out. Of course, it is an extreme case because Ravana was very, very demoniac, extremely demoniac, asuric. So here we see, coming back. So uh, this is called heroism, not cowardness. Being a coward, show exhibiting cowardly nature. No. So heroism, this is called power. So whenever needed, Ramachandra exhibited his power. Then Dhriti, he means determination. He must be very determined, not weak-minded. Okay, you may make a decision, but you have to be really strong and determined, not waver in your decision. Especially a Kshatriya. Hmm? One party comes and tells he'll change his mind. Then another party comes and tells he'll change his mind. It happens in our life also. See, one person will come, he'll tell you something, you will, okay, you will change your decision. Another person will come, he will tell another point, you will change your decision. So what is the final decision? You see? So you have to be clear about dharma and then be determined and fixed in that, not trying to satisfy individuals. It doesn't work. Administration you cannot do in that way. So determination, you have to be highly determined. If you buckle to others' pressure, other nations' pressure, opponents' pressure, then you cannot be a king. If you buckle, either you buckle down to others' pressure, or you're afraid, or you're hesitant, or you're not very sure, then you can't be determined. That's why you require a council of ministers who are thoroughly learned and wise. Wise means uh, uh, they know to discriminate right from wrong, the right, the cheater from the innocent. It's called discrimination. They're very sharp. Brahmanas, ideal Brahmanas. I'm talking. Hmm. Not talking about today's Brahmanas. Brahmana by quality. That also Krishna describes. That was in the previous verse, text 42, 18 chapter it was. Who's a Brahmana? That's also been described. We are talking about Kshatriya now. Then resourcefulness. He requires to be resourceful because he has to give charity also when needed. Charity cannot be given indiscriminately. Lazy persons cannot receive charity. Huh? Lazy persons cannot receive charity. So he has to ascertain whether he is the right person to receive charity. And then only offer charity, not simply, not indiscriminately. Charity is not simply madly, indiscriminately going on emptying the resources of the treasury in the kingdom. No. Charity is given to a suitable person. Suitable persons. Who are the suitable persons to receive charity? Also, list is there. Not that you can give charity to whomever you want. List is there who are eligible to receive charity. Only such person should be given charity. Just to ascertain all these things. Then courage in battle has to be very strong and brave and courageous. Otherwise, you cannot retain your country. It's okay, Prabhu, you can take off. It's okay, China, you can take off. It's okay, this country, that you can take off our kingdom. After all, kingdoms come and go. That I can talk as a Brahmana. Suppose. Suppose somebody is a Brahmana, he can be detached. Kshatriya cannot be detached. He has to protect the citizens, protect the country, and the country's interest, country's security. Otherwise, he cannot be a leader. So he has to be very courageous and fearing battle, you want to compromise. That means you don't have Kshatriya spirit. Like that's why Prabhupada said, he's in the US, no, quite some time back, decades back. They made it compulsory that every person in the family compulsorily were recruited to the draft board. That means there is no section of people who naturally have the Kshatriya spirit. So forcefully you have to take them into military or army. That means they are not producing any Kshatriya spirited persons only. This is the defect in Kali Yuga. Defect in not following the Vedic system or the Garbhadana Samskara. There will be imbalance, things out of balance. Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, all four categories of population is needed. And they all have to be in a balanced numbers. Otherwise, there will be a total imbalance. This many Kshatriyas are needed. If there's no Kshatriya only, how will you protect your country? And nobody wants to be a Kshatriya. Nobody has that courage in his blood. It's a docile country. And obviously, such countries will all be taken over by other countries. It's okay like this, you fold hands. That means there's no Kshatriya there to protect. You have to be very courageous in battle. The main man must be in the front. That's why Arjuna was there in the middle of the battlefield, the front of the entire army. That's it. Duryodhana was in the front of the army. You see? It is not that they're only sending soldiers, okay, you do the show and I will watch from behind. You go and fight, I will watch from my chamber. And then you come and report back what happened. No, he has to enter the field directly. Direct Kshatriya, courage in the battle. Seeing him, his men will get strength and inspiration and courage. So courage in the battle. Generosity, that as I said, there are conditions of generosity. The leadership qualities. So you must have leadership quality. You must be able to direct, guide, inspire, take risk, calculated risk, not foolishly. So like that here we see. So Vasudeva is expecting Krishna to be the supreme king. Supreme ruler of all rulers. Naturally, he is expected to protect all the praja who are after all his own creation. So vinashaya cha dushkritam. So therefore, this also should happen. And Prabhupada says that in Kali Yuga, this fighting strength of the Lord is taken the shape of the Nama Rupa, Hare Krishna Mahamantra. See how Prabhupada's realization is about the Hari Nama. Hare Krishna Mahamantra is the weapon and strength to fight the demonic forces in Kali Yuga. The more you chant Hare Krishna very nicely and seriously, then you will be able to conquer all the demons, kill all the demons or demonic forces in you and in others. You can keep the demonic forces away. Actually, Prabhupada said one place, very interesting point. Prabhupada has predicted a World War III to come about, as even many of the predictions are also saying so. But also did make a statement. If at least a certain section of the population becomes seriously Krishna conscious and increase the Sankirtana performance, the war can be averted also, Prabhupada said. So if people take up Sankirtana seriously, the war can be avoided. That much power it has got. And Prabhupada was a representative of the Hare Krishna to distribute Hare Krishna across the world for this purpose, for world peace. There's one short pastime I will tell and then I will close. This was a recollection by one Russian devotee. It was about his uncle who was in the army, Russian army. And I think somewhere in the 19th century, there was supposed to be a world war between America. This was the little later mid-90s. or mid-90s, somewhere like that. It was supposed to be a major war between America and Russia. And it was all set for the war, a world war between America and Russia. And all the soldiers, the bombs, everybody is ready. They're just waiting for one command to start bombing. So the day was set. I forget that particular date now. For one X date. And this was one day before. So he was describing, that uncle was describing to this ISKCON devotee who later joined the movement, Russian devotee, that uh, that night nobody slept. 24/7 they were awake, just waiting for one command. Immediately bombing will start. This was 1965 actually. September 13, September 16, 1965, September 16. Prabhupada's ship landed in Boston. Prabhupada placed his lotus feet in Boston the first time. And suddenly they decided, they called off the war. Both sides, Russia and America, they decided, we'll not have war. They were shocked. How this can be possible? Later on, this devotee's uncle, he said, actually, that was the day when Prabhupada put his step in America. Imagine the very presence of a pure devotee is placing his foot alone is enough to avert a major world war. This is the power of the Lord's devotee, who is the representative of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. So that is why, if we can chant Hare Krishna seriously, and if we have a pure devotee as our guide, I was talking about minister all the time, then there will be no flaws and there will be no wars, can be averted. But otherwise, even if there is a war, we require strength. Sometimes people accuse, you're all very timid, docile devotees. No, if you chant Hare Krishna when needed, you'll also get the Kshatriya courage, you'll get the Brahmana intelligence, you'll get the Vaishya productive intelligence, and you'll also be able to do any kind of humble menial service also to Krishna. So devotee can act in any varna and any ashrama. That is explained in the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita. When you become a devotee, you can act in any varna and ashrama category. You will become equipped by the Lord. Lord will give you the intelligence and required skill. Jnana, bala, kriya. Krishna will provide as needed. So you'll also get the Kshatriya spirit if needed. I'll stop here. Granthanath Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Shri Prabhupada ki jai.